Hi everyone, Tracy Bowdy here from Amafra. I wanted to give you a demonstration of the corn rootworm trap network because we changed it up. It's now a web application instead of having to use the Survey123 Field app. We know a lot of people had troubles trying to enter the data last year using the link, so we're hoping that this is an easier way to do things. Those who have used the Great Lakes and Maritimes Pest Monitoring Network will find this somewhat familiar. To find the site, you can Google corn rootworm IPM and go to the Iowa State Regional Working Group. And there's an actual tab for the adult trap network. If you are also familiar with Field Crop News, you can also put in the search corn rootworm trap network and the links will be there. I'm going to first show you how to enter the trap sites and the weekly trap data on your browser from your computer, but I will also do a demonstration from the mobile or phone version of it. There is a more direct link that you can get that takes you directly to the trap data entry site, but I will show all that next time. So first, when you are on the Trap Network site, you'll see the main page. There are very thorough instructions, step-by-step, made by Dan Bahari, the GIS specialist who's put this network together for us here at Amafra. So it talks you through every step to take, both on your web browser, on your laptop, or if you're using a mobile device. But the third tab is the most important tab, called the Trap Entry tab. And this is where you will be going to set up your sites and then also to enter your weekly data. Now, when you're on your laptop, you won't have GPS functioning, so you will actually have to zoom into the site that you want to select and put your field trap in. But if you were on your mobile device, you would just hit that bullet button on the right here, and it would take you to where your GPS is reading. So I'm just going to demonstrate here by putting a fake site up for now, but you can of course enter your trap sites once you start to set them up. Now, this does require us to put a dot on the map, and so if you are concerned about privacy and wanting to keep your field location anonymous or private, you can actually put the dot somewhere nearby. It could be in the nearest intersection or the nearest town or woodlot or golf course nearby, as long as you remember where you put it, so you can go and return to it later. Ideally, though, you stick within the same county and even township that this trap site is at, so that we can kind of keep track of where problem areas may be happening. So first, to enter a new trap site, you go down to this edit button that looks like a notepad with a pencil, and you click on it. You then need to highlight this dot, the corn rootworm monitoring dot. It will turn blue once it's been selected. So then you can go to your field site. And if you're on a computer, you hit Control button and click your mouse. If you're on your mobile, you can just press the button with your finger where you were at. So, trap site names. Again, if you want to keep this private, so don't use your company name or your grower's name, just give it a trap site name that you will remember. A lot of people use home farm, so I discourage you to use that without some additional identifier so that you know where the site is. So I am going to give this a name. And another important feature is to tell us how many traps you are monitoring weekly at this site. That is to help us know how many traps we should be expecting data from each week and be able to calculate the number of beetles per trap per day. So in this case, it's 4. Now, to exit out, when your dot is still red, you need to actually X out of the edit feature window so that it knows that you're done the job. Next, you go to that dot, and this is the only information that will show up to participants through the network. Everything else is only entered and private in the system behind the scene. So once you go into that site, there are two important links. This first link is the information about that field, and that's really important for us to know what the crop history is, what the hybrids are used, but you only have to enter this once. So you won't have to go back to this link again for the rest of the season. You will then return weekly to go to this link, which I'll show you next. But first, let's go and fill in information about this field. So first, of course, your name and your email. We ask for affiliation so that we can help sort out the data to provide to the different companies who have funded certain trap sites, or even at the university or other affiliations. So if you don't see your company name or university, you can hit other, or for the university's sake, you can hit university and fill in the university name. But for my case, it's other and OMAFRA. And of course, anything that has a red asterisk is a mandatory field that you have to fill out to proceed. But we've kept some that are not mandatory so that it's easier for you to go through this process. So I will say that I set up these traps on the 6th, and for most people, we have provided Trace A, Farrakhan, AM no bait traps that were funded through ABSTEC, or in the case for Ontario, also the Grain Farmers of Ontario. Many and most will have corn sites, but a few will be putting them into soybeans. So select which trap site crop this is. So in this case, it's corn. We would like to know the information about the hybrid. So fill that in if you can. If not, you can leave it blank. We may contact you for that information. But what's really important for us is to know if there's Bt rootworm traits in these fields. And if there are, which traits would they be? So we've kept them categorized based on the different trait names. So please try and find yours in the list. And more important too is if this was a continuous corn field, how many years of corn? So I will put 8. You're welcome to also fill in if there's been any history of rootworm. If there is, there are categories that you can fill out, any or all that apply, as well as any management tools that you have placed on that field. So once you're done entering that data, you hit submit, and you're done entering the field information. One time only, don't have to do it again for the rest of the season, even though when you go back to this dot and go to these links, when you go back to that form, it will be blank. Don't worry. We already have the information. You do not have to fill this out again. The next week that you go, and preferably weekly in 7-day intervals would be preferred. We've had participants sometimes forget and not enter trap data or check the traps for 15 or more days. It's really hard to be accurate if we're not seeing this information come to us on a weekly basis. So when you are ready and return to that field the next week, you can go to this link, the weekly link. And again, it'll have your trap site name and how many traps you have. If that's changed since when you first submitted field information, go ahead and change the number here. But this is a really important field to have because it, again, will tell the system how many traps we want data for. So if I had set this up on the 6th, I've returned on the 13th. And I'm also taking what the growth stage is. If you're soybeans, you enter the growth stage for soybeans. Now, we need data for every trap. Zeros are just as important as actual beetle counts. So in this case, I will say that I found a few beetles, but each of these fields required being filled in. If also you have any field observations, let's say some of the traps fell or were removed somehow, or you have to apply an insecticide. Those details are important too, and we can check them in the fall to see if there's anything unusual about the data that's coming from these fields. Once you've submitted the weekly count, you just hit submit, and that's it. And you can return to those links weekly, the weekly trap count link for any of the trap sites that you have set up. And it's as easy as that. Of course, if you have any concerns or questions, you can always reach me at tracybowdy@ontario.ca, or you can also contact Ashley Dean at Iowa State University for more information. And good luck this season.